Hello, everybody. It is Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. This is going to be a little different video than I would normally do, but I follow account on Twitter. Cannot remember the name of the person. Apologies. And every so often they post just images from fine art, from all fine art, I guess, any time period. Anyway, they posted an image that was from this artist. I'm going to say this name wrong. Um, Edmund Dulac, and this is Edmund Dulac Treasury, 116 color illustrations, and that's how thick the book is. Uh, it's funny because in the world of comic books, I pay so much attention to how the print is done, and I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed with this. Do you see how the spine is off? This is not a review of the book. This is not the point, but I just gotta say, the spine being off so that the front cover kind of curls around the side is one of my pet peeves. I hate that so much. But beyond that, this is actually a really cool book, other than how it was printed. Second thing, and then I'll move on, is that again, for all the talk in comics we do about shipping books using Gemini mailers or wherever, way you want to mail them and ship them, when you buy regular books from Amazon, they just stuff this thing in a bubble envelope and ship it. That's it. So considering that that's what happened, here's the book. It's actually in pretty good condition. Like, I don't really have dog ears, but anyway, the reason I pull this out is because I saw it on Twitter, one particular image, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so striking. The colors looked amazing. I'm not exactly sure if this is like watercolor or what the medium is. We could probably find out if we get into it. Um, but there's sort of this line art coloring blend, which to me is comics. But as you look at this, it's not really. Anyway, so I want to go through this because I found it inspiring, so much so that I bought an art book for it, which is not really normal for me. But we're not going to go through probably everything. We'll go through some of the highlights. So my understanding here, we got an introduction. He was born in 1882, and most of this art was done in the early 1900s, and so yeah, like we're talking like 1901 to like 1930, something like that. It looks like he died in 1953. So for what it's worth. Anyway, so let's get into this. And I'm just curious, for the sake of comic books, I'd love to do a book completely in this style. Now, and I'll right off the bat here, this looks different. The style looks a little different from what I've seen before. Still looks fantastic, really cool stuff. Um, I have heard from a number of artists that say if you like an art style, you got to do studies of that style. Something that I notice here, I'm just going to kind of turn through these a bit, is that a lot of this artwork, I didn't look through everything. I did a sort of I did a quick glance over it, and a lot of it almost seems like it could be fantasy, or there's some kind of story to be told here. Kind of has like a grainy quality, and I don't know if that is the way they took the pictures of the paintings or what. Here, this looks slightly different to me, very Middle Eastern. Can you see that? But I'm just bumping the camera everywhere. Really, really cool though. Could you imagine that illustration for a storybook? Here's another one. Great. Looks like kind of like the Taj Mahal, but not. It's a little different. Um, Another one, pet. Was that a leopard or something? The Queen of the Ebony Isles. Stories from Arabian Nights. All right, so it sounds like it is from stories. So cool. Wonder if all of these images are public domain. They should be, right? I don't know how that works for art. It would be pretty neat to use some of these for something, but all in all, I'd love to do an entire comic book in this kind of style. Really great stuff. So for commentary, I'm not trying to be cartoonist kayfabe here, and I'm not going to pretend like I know how the art is done. I just thought, here's a really cool artist, and I wanted to look at it, wanted to purchase it myself. One other quality I find interesting is how humans are drawn. And I always think if I was an alien and I went back in time, or I came to Earth, I was an alien, and this was the art I saw, I would think that women looked like this. And there's sort of this porcelain skinned, um, I don't know, just like small mouth. I don't know how to describe it. Quality, this like daintiness of facial features, of, just everything. And really cool looking, cool fabric. But when you think about today, so even that, like just the little boy, old man, all that stuff. When you think of it today, though, if you were to look at the art illustration, and you were an alien, what would you think that humans looked like? And so it's pretty interesting. So you go from this very like porcelain doll esque kind of look, facial features, to actually very exaggerated cartoony stuff here with a crop of crystal was too busy to speak. My days with the fairies. Very interesting. More cool stuff here. What is this? My days with the fairies still looks like Don Quixote. Storybook stuff. All right, here again is what appears to be a change in style from my untrained eye. Still cartoony, like almost reminds me of Norman Rockwell-esque and a little bit of Charlie Snogans. you know, there's just that it's both realistic and exaggerated at the same time. Like, look at the size of his schnoz. But very good acting. Really good stuff. Never had I heard of this artist before. Again, turn the page here. The style has changed. I don't know if it's just the coloring, the painting, I guess. I don't know. Is this watercolor? It looks different for sure. Super exaggerated, but looks cool. That's Father Time. Here we have older stuff here. I don't, no context for any of this. Very cartoony. This looks very much like it could be in a comic book, perhaps. Different coloring than you might see from in older comics. Let's flip through a bit. Here's I think not necessarily different style, but you can see here on the two-page spread. This is like one style. I don't know what the process is. Almost more flat colors, almost completely flat colors, to this being very painterly and kind of grainy. Wow, really cool. Beautiful stuff. This is Shakespeare's Comedy of the Tempest. I don't know. Is this boring? I don't know. I just think it's cool that we're experiencing it. Gotta wonder too, like character design back then. Like if you're being, this is from Shakespeare's Comedy of the Tempest. So, but how you design like man-bird thing, that is pretty interesting. Flowing fabric, porcelain doll faces, more fairies. Very cool. These all look like they're from the same Shakespeare, according to the captions at the bottom. There's a nice ship there. All right, I'm gonna go on. Let's see. I'm just curious if there we go. This is actually from the cover, and again, complaining about the print job. This is the cover print, and it looks not super crisp. It probably looks fine on camera, but up close, it's like, is that as sharp as they can get it? You get in here, and that's like super sharp. So is it just blowing it up that much? I don't think so. I think they got it printed in a cheap way. Yeah, really cool stuff. Again, yeah, some of the return to some other styles. Look at that one. All the fabric, so cool. Yeah, a lot of this actually is showing up on the camera quite nicely. Anyway, do you ever do this? Just look at art. It's fun to me because sometimes it can be tempting with writing. I'm a writer, I'm not an artist, but it can be tempting to just go back to writing. Just write novels, and you don't have to deal with the whole art production angle of it and the expenses that entails. But at the same time, this is why I like comics, is because you get all of this really cool art. None of this is comic book art, but just being able to appreciate illustrations for what they are. The storytelling, the acting, look at that old hag. I'm going to go ahead and use the word hag. It seems fitting. So many great characters, great acting, like you're just sleeping. You can clearly see from a mile away that those two guards are sleeping. But this is what it's all about, I think. I wouldn't mind doing a storybook sometime. I'm not sure that that would even be a project worth crowdfunding. But I think it would be fun to do some kind of written book with illustrations throughout if I could get illustrations like this at this quality. I'd love to do a comic book, but they definitely lend themselves to just, I mean, storybook kind of feel. I love this one. So this is the one that was posted on Twitter that got me really interested. Unfortunately, the colors here printed on the page do not do the image justice. I don't know if they retouched it, or I don't know, again, if this printer is cheap that was used here on, so the colors are kind of washed out. But this was so striking. The oranges in the tree here just looked great. Every little detail in here is purely drawn and outlined. Here you go. And then her face, again, is almost angelic. Ooh, I'm gonna bump it. Porcelain doll. Really, really cool stuff. Great storytelling. Story from Hans Andersen. The fairy dropped her shimmering garment, drew back the branches, and a moment after was hidden within their depths. Really cool fantasy. Over here you have some like zombie warlock looking dude. Oh, it's Death. Even Death himself listened to the song and said, "Go on, little nightingale, go on." Very cool. The Woman in the Sea. Super dramatic too. See, this is like a good point too, is that these are timeless. There's no reason why you couldn't do something like that in a book today, as far as storytelling and drama go. Super, super cool stuff. It's not so much about art style as it is about the ability to act and tell a story in a single image. Though I do like the art style. All right, we might be getting into some boobs. I don't know. So be warned. Oh, yep, there we go. I don't know what YouTube's going to do. That looks creepy. The Bells and Other Poems. Very cool. Looks like some kind of like sacrifice or something. Again, a little grainy, but I think that might be the print job. Some more. So this scrawny looking horse. Super creepy. Look at that. Beautiful. I mean, that is awesome. Really cool stuff. Anyway, appreciate you watching the video. I'm going to kind of flip through this a bit while I talk of giant snake eating people. I think this stuff's kind of fun, and when art inspires me like that, then I just want to see it. I don't usually buy art books like this, fine art books. I don't know if this is considered fine art because of the time period, but it is definitely illustration, definitely tells a story, very storybook feel, and a lot of them are from storybooks apparently. So it's been super interesting. What's the story here? Looks like she poisoned this poor guy. He's dead. Maybe he's sleeping. So I appreciate you watching this video if you've made it this far. I'm just going to quickly flip through the rest of these. Tell me what art out there inspires you. I don't care where it is or where it came from, what it is, who did it, where it came from, what inspires you, and why is illustration important in storytelling. Appreciate it. Don't forget to check out Dracula pre-launch page, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.